countdown screencast is or has started. Okay, that will be our synchronous task for today. After we do the GeoGebra, you will be pasting a screenshot of your work and paste it on the page of your digital notebook. Okay, and last but not the least, you will have independent work in Schoology, which I'm going to publish right now. So there's two of them. I'm going to publish only the first one, which will give you an idea of how you will format your GeoGebra construction. Okay, so refresh your Schoology browser and open the 1.1 points, lines, and planes. It should give you a slide that has a graphic organizer. So let's open that. My computer is slowing down every time I open a new tab, so let me close some. Hopefully I don't close Zoom, right? Okay, so points, lines, and planes. All right. You guys are lucky. My internet is at its fastest during your time because my kids are no longer in Zoom. Okay, so I hope that you were able to open the graphic organizer. Save that as your copy so you can revise it, edit it as we look at the lesson today. I am already starting with a textbook lesson today. Based on the planning, we have 32 topics and we have 40 Zoom meetings. So I have to go one lesson per Zoom meeting. Okay. All right. So the graphic organizer looks like this. As I have said, you can add these to your digital notebook, or you can copy and paste on a duplicate of the lesson slide. Okay, so at the end of the period, you have to come up with your entries for this graphic organizer. All right, I will be discussing later on, but I write big, so I will be writing like one slide or one screen for every one of these six. But at the end of the day, you should be able to post some description for each of these six, and you must be able to draw a diagram as well. And to do the diagram, let's open geogebra.org/geometry. I'm going to send that in the chat as well. If you joined us recently, please don't forget to type your name in the chat box for attendance in case I missed it. At least we have a proof. Okay, so in another tab, open geogebra.org/geometry. Okay, I'm going to close this 1.1 slide already because as you can see, it's kind of loading, but you have an idea, right, of what graphic organizer you need to fill up later on. So as we do our notes today, keep in mind that these are the things that you need to gather data for. Okay, I'm going to close this one now to save bandwidth on my computer or my internet because GeoGebra is not even loading properly for me. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is our GeoGebra, and okay, pardon me if I don't check the chat all the time. All right. So first is point. So we're going to talk about point. If you hear that sound, it's because I'm trying to use a writing tablet, and it makes that sound whenever I switch color or whatever. Okay, so point. What is a point? A point is, a dot in space, right? It's dimensionless. I don't know how you're going to take note. Maybe as I write, put it in your graphic organizer already or put it in your notebook, however you want it, or screenshot and then figure it out later. That's up to you. So it's a dimensionless dot in space, and it's normally, there was a term in the graphic organizers that says notation. Now, notation is just way of naming. It's just a fancy name for how would you name a point or how would you name a line. Okay, so normally, we name a point by using a capital letter. So let's say, for example, point A. And to draw that, so now this is your chance to kind of get familiar with your GeoGebra tools because we'll be using it a lot this semester. So you're going to click on points and then just plot a point anywhere on the white screen, and you can see that it automatically names it with a capital letter. If you name another one, by default, it just follows alpha order. Okay, so these are dimensionless dot and space. Dimensionless because imagine if you do it with a pencil, the thinner your pencil lead is, the better. Okay, so kind of like a grain of a sand in the beach or something like that, or dust in air, right? Okay, did I go too fast or just right? Are we good? If I don't see any objection, I actually turn in. Oh, okay. Can we take care of that later on, Aaron Denny? Thank you. Um, where was I? Yeah. So, do you guys have any questions? Otherwise, I'm going to erase all these and move on. Okay. So, clear ink. Next. Oh, I've got to take this out also. I have to get the cursor. What did I do? Okay. Oh, I moved it. Darn it. Okay. Undo. Undo. Okay. All right. Uh, Select objects and then I delete them because I don't need them. All right, cool. All right, next is we're going to talk about um, line. So, what is a line? Okay, so we normally say, well, a line is a straight. Yep, good, but in algebra, linear functions have straight line graphs. But in geometry, a line is an infinite set of points. Okay, so infinite set of points. And it is represented by a double-headed arrow. Represented by a double-headed arrow. And can be named using a minimum of 2 points. Okay, so 2 minimum points. All right. So for example, if I click on my line tool here, I click somewhere and then extend the line in either direction. It doesn't matter, up, down, left, right. Okay, and then it will plot another point over there. Now, what if I plot another point on the line? Is that okay? Yes, but when you name the line, you have to use only 2 points. So let's say, for example, this line can be named as follows. AB, capital, Y capital, because points are capital, right? And then you have to place the double-headed arrow on top. If I send you a worksheet and the answer is a line, but you didn't put the arrows, that's wrong. And you will see later why when we talk about segments. So pretty much, you know, you can pick any 2 points. It doesn't matter. And maybe you're wondering, okay, maybe you're wondering if you can switch the orders around. So, just like in algebra, the 2 letters are commutative, so you can place them in any order. And the other way, I'm sorry, I'm writing everywhere, so you guys can figure out how to organize that on your graphic organizer later. Okay. And I normally write nice, but I'm sorry. Right now, it's just crappy. Okay. So, line BC. So, the bottom line is, given so many points in a line, okay, you can pick any 2 and you're naming the same exact line that we have here. So you can pick any 2 points and it doesn't matter in, which order. So as a challenge for you is, so challenge, I hope somebody can share next time. If you have 4 points on a line, what's the exact number of ways that you can name it using any 2 points? Okay, and in particular, if you have 10 or 15 or 20 points on the line, how can you find the exact number of ways to name it? So if you can, give me a formula. All right. So we're going to look at that next time. Hopefully somebody can share. I'm going to delete my ink again. If you didn't finish copying, please check the video later on. And I'm gonna delete this. So, all right, that's another way of deleting. Okay, next, after line is a plane. Okay, so what is a plane? A plane is an infinite set of points extending in all directions. Okay, so a plane can be named in different ways. First way to name a plane is by using any 3 points in it. Okay, so you can name this as plane ABC. And the letters can commute. It could be plane CBA, BAC, etc. Another way to name a plane is by using a lowercase letter, that should be small letter, okay? A lowercase letter written at the corner, okay? Now, which reminds me, I forgot to mention this in the line. Now, in some textbooks, just so you don't get confused, they also use a small letter, written on top of the arrowhead, or sometimes they put it in the middle of the line. So if maybe you're wondering, Miss Arciaga said, 2 points, but there's only one letter. If it's like written in script and it's a lowercase, then you can use it to name a line. In that case, you're gonna say line M. Okay. So this is normally helpful when we're typing answers in Schoology because if the symbols don't show, then at least we have another way to name it. All right. So going back to the plane, you can also name this plane plane M. All right. And when I say plane here, I'm not referring to a triangle yet. Okay. So take note, I did not put the 3 red letters on the corners. All right. However, when we get to triangles, this is just when we get to triangles and you do have an actual one, let's say A, B, C, then you can name that triangle ABC. So a triangle is an example of a plane figure also, or a plane polygon. But here we're talking about a plane in general. So imagine you are standing at the beach, at the, shore, and if you look at that horizon, so that's like a plane. It extends infinitely. All right. So go ahead, honey. Really? Yeah. Um, okay. How about now? Do you see what I wrote on the screen? Now you do? Now you do? Okay. Oh, okay. So, hmm. Okay, did you see the ones I wrote for point and line or no? No? Okay. So then let's work backwards. I have a plane over here and then I'm going to repeat the one for line and point. Is that okay? All right. I think I shared, yeah, the GeoGebra and not my whole screen. My bad. I got so carried away. Ah, Target. I really missed the classroom. You know me when I get carried away. Okay, I'm gonna go backwards. So we got this one already. I'll give you some time to either take a snapshot or I don't know, write it down or something like that. Okay. Okay, we're good. All right. And let me know if I can erase this one. Okay. Oh, I wonder if I could just play the screencast. Oh no, never mind. I don't want to like mess it up. All right, I'm gonna pause the screen. All right, so the next one I'm gonna talk to you about is the segment. So you click on this segment over here. Do you see my screen? Because the chat is blinking. The FBI is monitoring. Matthew had the best handwriting. I know all of you write better than I do. That's a lot to copy. Dominic, come on. Okay. Remember, I had to do this how many times a day, right? A week. So we're on the same boat. Okay. All right. So now let's do a segment. Oh, dang, I miss you guys in the classroom. Okay, so let's click on segment and then now see what happens and how it's different from a line. There. Okay, so now can somebody unmute themselves and tell me how I'm going to name a line segment while I'm writing the definition? Anybody? How do you name a line segment? Your video won't show, I promise. Just your name. A and B. Awesome. That's cool, Dominic. So it's a subset of a line that has two endpoints, and the endpoints are those that Dominic mentioned, A and B. So when you write or when you name a segment, you have to just place the bar over the two letters, but no arrowheads. So that's why I mentioned earlier, if you put the arrowheads, if it's a segment, it's wrong. But if you don't put the arrowheads, if it's a line, they're referring to two different stuff. And just like in algebra, they can commute. There you go. Awesome. All right, so AB is the same as BA. And it's ironic, right? Because this is the beginning letter and that's the ending letter, but both of them are called endpoints. Okay? Yes. All right. Now, what if, what if I have a point in the middle? Right there. Let's call it D because Dominic answered me earlier. So, if you have a letter in the middle, can you use AD to name the line segment? Yes or no? Unmute yourself. And let me check the chat. No, that is not the middle. Oh, okay. So no, you cannot name it to, you cannot use it to name the segment. The answer is no. Okay, you're right. So you cannot name it because AD just refers to this one. And yeah, it's not the middle. I'm so sorry, but somewhere in between. So in geometry, when you say between, it doesn't necessarily have to be the middle. Okay, and we're gonna talk about more about that in lesson 1.3, I think. Yes, I should not use the term middle. Thanks for correcting me. All right, so if you name it AD, then you're just referring to a smaller subset of the line segment. Okay, so it has to be the endpoints. Awesome. Okay, that's the fourth among six. Two more. I'm gonna erase, erase, erase. Okay, here we go. The next one I'm gonna talk about. Oops, delete, delete, delete. Okay. All right, the next one I'm gonna talk about is ray. What is a ray? Okay, so a ray is a subset of a line, that has one instead of two. That has one endpoint and extends in one direction. Okay. All right. Pardon my use of, what do you call this? The in, on, at. Just correct it if you notes. I'm not good in English. Okay, so subset of a line that has one endpoint and extends in one direction. Okay, for example, I have here a ray. Let's call this J, G. Right, Jeremiah Gasca? All right, so the endpoint here is J, and the point on the ray is G. So when I name that, I have to put the letter J first and the G and place an arrowhead. So the name is kind of similar to how it looks like. However, if your ray is going to the left, okay, and now J is here while G is there, can I name this JG? Jeremiah, yes or no? Ah, okay, so so if the ray looks like this, I can name this JG, Ray JG, right? But if it looks like this, I even use your initial as an example, paying attention. Where's mom? Hi, mom. Okay, so can you name this Ray JG, yes or no?
Uh, no.
No, very good. Because when you name array, yep, when you name array, you always have to start with the endpoint. So you have to, yes, awesome. Now, what if, okay, you can tell I miss teaching in the classroom. I'm so hyper. Okay, so what if I have another point over here? Let's say D for Dominic. Okay, so if there's a, if, oh, Dominic, so let's say I have your initial, letter D over here in the middle. In what way can I name my ray? So you always have to start with the endpoint, which is G. And then for the second letter, you can pick any. You can pick J or you can pick D. Okay? It doesn't matter. But these two will refer to the same ray. All right. So that's how a ray differs from a segment. For a ray, it matters where the endpoint is extending. Okay, I'm gonna erase, 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 and we're gonna look at the last one, which is opposite rays. And this will be the last one I'm gonna talk about, and then I'll show you what to do next. Opposite rays. All right. Okay. So opposite rays share a common endpoint. Endpoint. And since they are opposite rays, they go in opposite directions. So, opposite directions. Okay. And last but not the least, they have to be collinear. Now, what does collinear mean? Anybody? What does collinear mean? Let me see in the chat if you gave me an answer. Hmm. Okay, what does collinear mean? You can type in the chat box or you can unmute yourself. Um, the prefix co means what? Co means same, right? Root word here is line. So let me see if somebody. Yep, yep. Awesome, Johnny. Yep, yep, yep. So collinear means they are on the same line. Dominic, don't say that. Okay, so they are in the same line. They go in the same direction. That's awesome. So collinear means they form a straight path, pretty much. So for example, let me draw one. Let's say I have a ray going to the left and name it, let's say, JA for Johnny Argueta. And then I'm going to have another green ray over here. But this time I'll have to make it going to the right. And I'm going to put, let's say, M over here. Letter M for that point. Okay. So these two are called opposite rays because they share the same endpoint, which is J, right? And they have 1 point on each side. So opposite rays are collinear. In other words, they form a line. What would happen if they're not collinear? Can somebody unmute and explain what you think would happen if they're not collinear?
They wouldn't be on the same line.
They wouldn't be on the same line? Yeah, and how would they look like if they're not on the same line? Anybody who can add to what Dominic said? If they're not on the same line, then how would it look like? What would they form? Starts with the letter A. A 5-letter word that starts with the letter A. It ends with E.
Q.
Acute. Acute what?
Angle.
Awesome. Yep. They would form an angle like this. So see, if I have JA going like that, so this is J, this is A, and then I have JM going like this. Remind me of the time, okay? I get carried away. I miss teaching so bad. If I go over time, let me know. So see, if they are not collinear, then an angle will be formed. It could be an acute angle, obtuse angle, or anything. But the reason why we say, oh, they are collinear is just so they would be on a straight line. Okay? Because if not, they would form an angle. All right. So those are the things that you have to talk about in the graphic organizer later on in your Schoology. So if I could please direct you to Schoology and show you where you're going to do your individual work. There's a graphic organizer that you have to complete. So you can write the descriptions that I shared, or you can, take a picture of, you can take a picture. Hey, don't distract me in the chat. Okay, hang on. So you guys are going to fill up the graphic organizer, and when you're done, I have a short, you know, individual work for you today. It's in week number 2. I don't know if you see it already, but I haven't published it, I think. Let me just refresh my browser. Bookmark GeoGebra already because we'll be using that, you know, every time. Um, okay, so week 2. Come on, week 2. Let's go week 2. I have to show them that. Hmm. There. Okay, so I'm going to publish this. See, there's two 1.1, okay? But the second one is like a short quiz, and it's about what we talked about today. Okay, so how about do it now? So if you have questions, you can type in the chat box, or you can also unmute yourself. Okay, but this one only has one attempt. Okay, so be careful. All right, so maybe before you submit your answers, you could ask me some, questions for support. Okay, so click on that. Hmm. Wow, it's lagging. I should disconnect my phone from my internet also, huh? Okay, so preview. It only has 5 questions, but I think gives you 1 or 2 attempts. I'm not sure. I forgot. Okay. Yep, only one attempt. Yeah. It's multiple choice. So try it, and if you have questions, unmute yourself and let us know. Okay. That would be nice, Rihanna. So every time you do something in Schoology, if you could have like an evidence of your work, excuse me, that would be nice. Yeah. Just so you don't run out of stuff to put in your digital notebook. Okay. All right.